Hey, Daniel.
Oh, hi, Denise. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
You're looking very dapper this afternoon, my friend.
It's better to look good than feel good, so no matter how hot or how cold it gets, I'll come out dressed to the nines.
Well, you've done it, my friend.
Well, thank you.
So, what's going on here today, and tell us about Cambridge Historical Tours?
So we are based here in Cambridge, obviously. We do anything anywhere around Boston, however, because we're just curious-minded individuals. It's history with a wink, so it's all the best stuff. We try and tell the interesting stories throughout history. We're not going to lay you down and explain legislation from 1789. We're more going to sort of tell you the story of people like, I don't know, we're in Winthrop Park. John Winthrop was a pretty interesting guy. He's the first governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Came over here in 1629. They landed a couple of different places, but when they popped down in Charlestown, he gives this great speech. He says, "We shall be like a city upon a hill. All eyes of the world shall be upon us." And what he's really saying to everybody is like, let's not screw this up, guys. Everybody's watching us. Our reputation is at stake. Unfortunately for them, Charlestown is full of brackish water. There's no fresh water, so people are dying of thirst. There's plenty of mosquitoes coming from the river. Malaria is killing everybody. He's made a terrible, terrible choice and place to land. Luckily, there's a guy on Boston's peninsula named William Blackstone that comes over and saves them all. He says, "I've got this beautiful view of the harbor from over here on my giant hill on Beacon Hill," and bells are going off in Winthrop's head. He says, "City on a hill. Oh, no, this is where I'm supposed to go." It's fresh water over there. They settle down and they realize very quickly that they're surrounded on three sides by water, so they better find a better place to set up their capital fortress. They don't want to get attacked because they have no navy themselves. So they sail about 2 miles up the Charles River, find a nice 4x4 mile patch of muddy, stinking swamp, and they're kind of like, perfect, great place to build a capital, because anybody trying to attack the fort in the middle of a swamp is going to sink 8 feet into the mud. It'll be like a giant game of whack-a-mole for the people in the fort. So they decide that this, Cambridge, will be their very first capital. They don't call it Cambridge, though. They're not creative people, so the Puritans, when they establish a brand new town, decide that they're going to call it the New Town. It's not really their forte. Even Boston was named after the town they came from in England, called Boston. Anyway, the new town becomes the capital of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Winthrop decides he's going to set up right here where we're standing in historic Winthrop Park. How are you doing this afternoon? And starts building his timber frame house. Decides he doesn't want to be here. He'd way rather be in Boston receiving the ships from Europe. So he decides he's going to move home. Luckily, there's a guy named Thomas Dudley who's been here in Cambridge. Did not trust the governor. Didn't want to start constructing his own mansion over here unless Winthrop signed a contract saying, yeah, I'm going to stay here. This is where I promised to build my house. Well, Winthrop splits. After having signed this contract, Thomas Dudley cries foul, says, hey, you signed this contract, you said you're going to build your house here, you need to come back. John Winthrop comes back, he builds his house right here where we're standing, and then he tears the whole thing down after he says, see, there you go, I built my house. Uses the wood to rebuild a house in Boston for himself. Looks like Cambridge is going to fail miserably, but instead, we get Harvard. We'll admit that kind of bolsters our existence for the next not quite 400 years, but we're very, very pleased that Winthrop Park, the original plot of land where John Winthrop settled, has never been developed. This was the first farmers market in New England by local. It's been happening for a long time. And this sort of stays nice and green and open ever since the 1630s, because John Winthrop decided not to build his house on it. So we can thank him for that, because now we have a lovely park where we can all hang out. You can pick your toenails like the gentleman over there, or of course you can have a lovely relaxing time on a bench, go to Grendel's Den. Any of this is all thanks to the original settlers who decided that they would never build. Thank goodness for it.
There you go. So tell us a little about Cambridge Historical Tours.
So Cambridge Historical, I digress, do I? So Cambridge Historical Tours.
History just gets in the way.
I love this stuff. It comes pouring out of me. And we do tours on a private basis, so it's for groups, corporate groups, families, lots of school groups, that kind of thing. We're really trying to make this as interesting as possible for everybody. I tell folks, if you thought history was boring, it was your teacher. Let us tell you the stories. We'll get the anecdotes. We'll throw humor in. We'll make sure that it's well narrated, that you're highly entertained. If you want a costume, we don't look too bad in them. It's not too hard on the eyes. If you don't want a costume,
I'm going to just stay right there. I'm going to
please, by all means, yeah.
Look at this.
I'll put my best foot forward here.
You just did. Beautiful.
So, yeah.
So, Dan, how do people get in touch with you?
You can go to our website, cambridgehistoricaltours.org. You can call us up, 617-520-4030. You can bump into me on the street if you want. I'm around here quite a bit. So
do you think we would recognize you?
It's pretty tough to miss me. I mean, every now and then, if I'm walking with my head right in the sand, it thinking contemplatively about whatever new piece of history I've learned. No, but very accessible. I hope that everybody will try and take a tour. If you're from Cambridge, these tours are designed for you. Really wanted to make sure that we could instill some pride in your town. Give you the stuff that you haven't actually seen as you're walking past it. The stories that you can't tell just from reading the plaques that are next to it.
Yeah.
So we dug through all the boring stuff in history, picked out the treasure, the little nuggets, the amazing stories, the people who are dead in violent, interesting ways, the intrigue between the love triangles, the really racist, horrible human beings who should be talked about so that we don't repeat their mistakes. Everything from A to Z. I want to make sure that it's sensational as possible so you have something to remember, so you want to study more, because I've found the more that I learn about this stuff, the deeper the network gets, the more interesting it becomes for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't get more boring as I stop learning new things. There's so much to learn because this place has been around for 375 plus years.
And you do private tours, Dan?
We do private tours. We
Okay.
love to do small groups and families. So we have a private tour small group rate. We also have sort of an in-betweener rate, and then for our larger, more voluminous groups, we offer a bunch of tour packages. But we're happy to customize. We want to do anything that you're looking for. You want women's history, you want African American history, you want some sports history, you want old-timey stuff, you want some Boston history mixed in. We'll take you down to Boston as well. We can take you inside the Harvard Natural History Museum if you're a science geek, or go down to Kendall, tell you what they're doing right now at MIT. We really try to provide whatever experience anybody is looking for in the tourism world.
It's fabulous. Something for everybody.
Something for everyone.
Dan, thanks so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.